So welcome to my class again. It's in continuation with environment and sustainable development. And in this, I'm going to do strategies of sustainable development. What strategies should be adopted for bringing about sustainable development? Now I'm going to give you an acronym, sort of a mixed acronym. So in this, I'm going to make you learn, say OMG, energy, and up, UUPPP. So once again, it is OMG, then energy. Energy is a word. OMG is an acronym. Then we are going to do what is known as UUPPP, up. So, oh my God, energy up. Learn it like that. Maybe you'll understand better. So, without ado, let me just go ahead. Here, just look at this. So, O would stand for, now just take a look. O I've just put as adoption of old practices, or you can write organic farming. Then you have these mini hydel plants as M. Then for G, use of gases. Then talking about energy, it's all the non-conventional energies that we must tap. It's a solar, wind energy that we must tap, which we are not doing enough. Then for for U, use of biocompost, then use of pest control, then we must, plastic bags should be banned, then pollution should be taxed and fined, and there should be enough public awareness. Public awareness should be generated. So going through these, we can now take up each one. See, once you know the points, it's so easy because to learn. Simply because what happens is that by the time you read the chapter, you have gained enough knowledge and you can fill up. But you should know what are the points, and that is why I made you go built up this acronym. So let's just take the first one. That is, we've talked about, say, organic farming, isn't? What is the first one we talked about? Old methods, right? Adoption of old practices. So what were in past, all our practices, that is agriculture system, healthcare system, housing, transport, were environment friendly. But in recent years, we have been moving away from these practices. So this has caused a large scale damage to our environment. So we can go to traditional practices. For example, if you take health, let's take Ayurveda and Unani systems of treatment. They are economic, environment friendly, and there are so many herbs that we know of so many herbs which cure. So we can see. We know that there are so many cosmetic products such as hair oil, toothpaste, face cream, body lotion, all are herbal in composition, and we prefer that. So let's again, old methods, let's talk of agriculture, then let's just shift to organic farming. So like use of chemical fertilizers, insecticides and pesticides. Yes, it has raised crop yield, but it has lowered the soil fertility, which means this is loss of production capacity for the future generations. And it is time now that we switch over to organic farming, which focuses on soil health rather than plant health. So that is there. Then talking about, say, this M, let's take M, mini hydel plants. So we have these lot of streams. We have a lot of hilly terrain in our country. So what we have to do is, hilly areas have streams everywhere. And most of these streams are perennial. That means they go on for the entire year. So small electricity plants can be set up to use the energy of such streams to move maybe small turbines, so that electricity is generated and that can be used locally. And these plants, these mini hydel plants, are environment friendly because they do not change the land use pattern. Then and of course there'll be a lot of it'll economize because there'll be we don't need large scale transmission towers and cables because the electricity is produced locally. It'll be done quite cheaply. So we finish with mini hydel plants. Then let's talk about gases. So rural households in India generally use wood, dung cake, and cow dung cakes, that is, goita it's known as, and other biomass as fuel. This practice has led to several problems like deforestation, reduction in green cover, and air pollution. So then for this subsidized LPG is being provided by the government right now, and we also have set up a lot of what is known as the gobar gas plants. uh, these have been set up in rural areas. These are provided on easy loans and subsidy. And for the gobar gas plant to function, cattle dung is fed to the plant and gas is produced, which is then used as fuel. While the slurry, which is left over, is a very good organic fertilizer and soil conditioner. So talking about that gas, then we have, and of course we have CNG in urban areas. Like for example in Delhi, there's so much of, it's one of the most polluted places now. So here we have decided to use, the government said that we must use CNG, that is compressed natural gas, as fuel and public transport system. That means the same gas cylinders that we were using at home that should be used on the road too. And it has certainly lowered air pollution and the air has become a little cleaner. So talking about that, then energy. Let's come to energy. Now what sort of energy should we use? That is non-conventional sources of energy. So what are these non-conventional sources of energy? These are, we've also read about them. So these are, for example, wind power and solar energy. They can be effectively used to, and they can replace thermal power and what do you call it? Even hydropower. In what happens in solar power through photovoltaic cells, India naturally has a large quantity of solar energy in the form of sunlight. So it's very important that we make these cells. These cells can be converted into photovoltaic cells. Solar energy can be converted into electricity, and this kind of material is used. A special kind of material is used to capture solar energy and convert the energy into electricity. And the benefits are that this technology is extremely useful for remote areas and for places where supply of power through grid or power lines is very difficult, is not possible, or it's too costly. And this technique is really, it's totally free from pollution. And then also we can talk about wind power. Especially in areas where the speed of wind is high, they can provide electricity without any adverse impact on the environment. We used to learn as kids about Holland, which had those windmills for, they would use it even for their flour machines, turning wheat into flour. So wind turbines move with the wind and electricity is generated. Of course, initially the cost is high, but the benefits are such that the high cost gets easily absorbed. But lately they have been also talking about a lot of harm to the birds. So I think that way, I think solar power is a very good idea. So we non-conventional form of energy we've talked about. Then let's talk about the use of, now we're going to do up now. So what is this? Use of biocompost. So what is biocompost? It means plant matter that has been decomposed and recycled as manure. So we know that Indian farmers had switched over to the use of chemical fertilizers, particularly when we did in the mid 60s green revolution. Remember, we did the new agricultural policy then. So that was the time. And then most of them neglected the use of biocompost fertilizers. And the reckless use of chemical fertilizers has adversely affected the fertility of soil and water bodies, including groundwater system. So, yes, we just talked about that also. Organic farming is a good a good substitute for that, and we must go back to it, and it must be encouraged. Okay, so that is U. The second U we're going to talk about is use of pest control. Since mid 1960s, when the Indian agriculture experienced green revolution, the use of more and more chemical pesticides have become a common feature. It soon began to show adverse impact on the food products, soil and water bodies. And you'll be surprised, even milk, wheat and fish were found to be contaminated. And again, what are we doing? Don't lose the focus. It is sustainable development. We are going to develop in our generation, and we have to see that the generation next and next are happy with the resources. We leave them resources. So to meet this challenge, we are now using biopesticides, like pesticides derived from natural materials such as plants, animals, for example, cow dung, neem, turmeric. So these are some of the biopesticides. And another thing we can think is that we have adopted mixed cropping for pest controlling. So there are certain crops which, when put in between, help in safeguarding the soil. So like for example, growing different crops in consecutive years on the same piece of land has also helped farmers in this direction. So then we have what is known as P. So with that we come to plastic bags. So there has to be a ban on plastic bags. It has been done, and there should be recycling. The industrial and household waste are accumulated on daily basis. We know that. So we have to manage those waste. So we don't have to let the garbage litter around or flow into streams and rivers. We must systematically treat them. And household waste can be recycled into compost and used as manure for organic farming. So that is there. So then we also have P. Another P is, there's another P, right? That is for measures like regular vehicle checkups, then levying pollution tax on industries which emit smoke, and huge fines should be slapped on them, and even imprisonment. Stringent measures should be taken. They have to be strict. So that is very important. And another thing that we talked about was, see, everything is there, but the stringent laws have to come up. They have to be there. And the last is P again, public awareness. Widespread national awareness to save environment and natural assets. So they should be right from say kindergarten. Children should be taught, people should be made aware of the adverse effects of pollution. So these are the strategies for sustainable development.